This is Samantha Sloman, Matwork Pilates exam. My client is Ava, a 28-year-old woman who presents to my clinical Pilates studio for the first time. She's 20 weeks postpartum with her first child. She had a fairly easy natural labour with no abdominal separation, but has since felt poor pelvic floor control and a weakened core strength, leading to mild symptoms of low back pain. She also has limited thoracic mobility due to breastfeeding, reduced exercise, poor sleep, and frequently picking up her baby. She used to regularly exercise prior to pregnancy, but that has since now stopped as she finds it quite tiring and strenuous on her lower back. Her goals are to improve her core and pelvic floor strength, reduce her lower back pain, and improve her thoracic spine mobility. Hi Ava, I'm Sam. I'm going to be your clinical Pilates instructor today. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. We're going to be going through a few different goals today with our repertoire. We're going to be focusing on improving your pelvic floor strength, your core strength, your thoracic mobility, and your lower back pain. We're going to go through 8 exercises and then a few take-home exercises and some home advice. How does that sound?
Perfect, sounds good.
Great. So I'm going to set you up first of all with the 5 basic principles of Pilates. I'm going to start by you having your knees and feet hip distance apart. And then we're going to focus on having equal pressure through our heels, our big toes, and the ball of our feet. When we feel comfortable here, we're going to focus on our pelvis. So we're going to imagine the pelvis is a bucket of water. What we want to do is tip that bucket backwards and forwards as though we're tipping the water at the front of our pelvis and then tipping the water at the back of our pelvis to try and find a middle ground point where that bucket of water will be nice and flat. When we feel comfortable here, we'll move up further to our rib cage placement. So the ribs should be nice and flush over the pelvis. There should be a softening through the breastbone and they shouldn't be flaring outwards. Once we feel comfortable here, we'll come up to the shoulder blades and collarbones. The collarbones should be nice and long and as though they're smiling, and the shoulder blades should be nice and flush against the back of the rib cage. Great, and then we're going to move on to our head and neck positioning. So the neck should be feeling nice and long and elongated through the back of the neck, as though there's a string pulling the crown of our head up towards the ceiling. You feeling confident here?
Yeah, very good.
Good, so we're going to focus on our breathing now. So we're going to take 3 nice big deep breaths in and out. And I want you to focus on breathing nice and wide and expanding through that rib cage. So breathing in and out, very good. And throughout our Pilates exercises today, we're going to be inhaling on our rest position and then exhaling on our movement position. So just keep that in mind throughout, but I'll keep reminding you. Perfect. All right, we're going to start with our repertoire. So we'll start off with upper body rolls. So we're going to be starting in standing. Upper body rolls is to mobilize the thoracic spine and to also relax the body. It's a great first exercise to start with. So I'm going to demonstrate the exercise first and then I'll get you to perform it for me. So we're going to start with our right shoulder. The shoulder comes up and around and then we peel to the side, hang down to the floor, breathing in. Breathing out, we're going to stack up one by one and come up head and shoulder blades last. So I'll show you again, shoulder comes up and around. We peel ourselves to the side, hanging down like a monkey bars, and then stacking our spine back up to the front. Okay, get you to give that one a go. So right shoulder first, good, peeling away, hanging nice and long like you're on some monkey bars, and then stacking those vertebrae up one by one on top of each other. Good. Don't forget the 5 basic principles. So again, with that right shoulder coming down, hanging to the front, very good. And then stacking those vertebrae up one by one. Good. We'll introduce some breathing now. So I'll get you to breathe in before you move. And then breathing out, we'll roll that shoulder back and around, coming down. When we're hanging down there, breathing in again. And then breathing out, we'll stack those vertebrae up one by one again. Good, now I'll get you to give it a go on the left side now. So shoulder coming up and around. Good, hanging down. Very good. And then stacking those vertebrae up one by one. We're going to imagine that our vertebrae are blocks like Jenga, and we're stacking them up one by one, all the way up gradually up to the shoulder blades and head. Good, hanging there and then coming all the way back up. Nice and slow. Very good. Move on to our next exercise now, which is going to be roll down. So roll down is an excellent exercise to mobilize the spine into flexion. So roll down is going to start off with tucking the chin inwards and then gradually following through the upper back, lower back and spine, and we're going to hang here, breathing in, breathing out. We're going to stack each vertebrae up one by one and then shoulders and head coming up again. So similar to our last exercise, but just the up and down movement. So tucking our chin in, rolling ourselves down, holding down as far as we can, feeling that in our hamstrings, and then tucking back up through to the shoulder and head. Very good, give that one a go. So tucking that chin in, coming down forwards, hanging again like a fern that hasn't got any water, and then stacking those vertebrae up one by one again. Very good. Tucking that chin in, rolling yourself down, a nice softening through that breastbone, and then hanging down there. Good. Focus on coming up one by one, segmentally through that spine, and then great, those shoulders and head coming up last. Tucking that chin in again, great, coming down, hanging there, and then gradually stacking up one by one. Good, we're going to do one more there, and as we come back down, we're going to come into a seated position. Alright, tucking that chin in, rolling ourselves down, and then coming down into a seated position. Very good. Alright, so our next exercise is in seated, and it is called spine stretch. So spine stretch is to mobilize the thoracic and lumbar spine into flexion, which is really relevant for your thoracic stiffness. So this exercise is great in seated, but I'm just going to retrain those 5 key principles. So I want you to keep nice and long through that lower back. And don't forget the string pulling the top of the head up towards the ceiling. Nice and smiling and wide through those collarbones and shoulders flush against the rib cage. And a nice softening through the breastbone and keeping those ribs nice and tucked there while we're seated. Great. Alright, we're going to start off the exercise by tucking our chin in. Get it to the right position. We're going to tuck our chin in and come down into this flex position, and then we're going to move our spine to the front, lift our head up and come back up to the front. So we're going to tuck the chin, bending the head, move our spine forwards and then come back up. Give that one a go. So tuck the chin in, move forwards. Very good. So we're going to imagine that our arms are on a bookshelf or a table, and we're going to roll ourselves up and across the table and coming back up. Good. So tucking that crown of the head into the arms and coming across the table. Good. Now we want to be bending down to our thoracic spine. As far as we can go, we should feel a nice stretch through our erector spinae muscles just on the outside of the spine. Very good. Couple more here. Tucking our chin in, rolling forwards across that bookshelf and then coming back up. Good. Alright, we're going to move into our next position, which will be in supine, so lying on our back. This exercise is called overhead reach, and it's mainly to train lumbopelvic neutral and upper limb dissociation. So it's really good for improving core strength and as well as improving abdominal strength. Alright, I'll get you lying down on your back. I'm going to demonstrate, you can watch from seated. I'm going to demonstrate the exercise first and then you give it a go. So knees bent, feet on the floor, and then we're going to bring our arms up to 90 degrees, palms facing outwards. We're going to bring those arms above our head, just until we can control, and then back up to 90 degrees. The main focus here is to keep our pelvis neutral, and to also keep our ribs nice and tucked so they're not flaring outwards. Give that one a go on your back. Before we give that a go, I'm just going to retrain those 5 basic principles. So bring the feet a little bit further away. And what we're going to do here is imagine that bucket of water again with the pelvis. So we're going to tuck that pelvis up and back and try and find that middle ground position here. So there's a blueberry under your lower back. You want to be touching that blueberry, but you don't want to be squashing it. Very good. When you've found that, don't forget your rib cage placement. So keeping that nice flush position and softening through the breastbone. Keep those shoulders nice and firmly placed against the the mat, and head feeling okay with that head support there? Very good. Alright, bring those arms up to 90 degrees, palms facing down, and then we're going to slowly extend them above the head until you can control, and making sure that we keep these ribs nice and tucked. Very good. Bring those arms back up to 90. Good. Don't forget that blueberry under the spine. Good. Bring those in. And when we're feeling confident with that movement, we'll increase our breath. So we're going to inhale here, and then exhale. We'll extend the arms above the head. Good. Breathing in here, and then bringing out, breathing out, bringing our arms back down. Good. Keeping this rib cage nice and tucked. Breathing in, and then breathing out. Arms coming down. Good. And bringing those arms back down. Now we want to imagine as well that we've got a tight pair of jeans on, and we're trying to zip those jeans up. So keeping that belly button close to our spine. That's the proper pelvic neutral position. Good. Couple more here. Move on. Keeping these ribs nice and tucked. Very good. And then floating those arms back to 90. Good. One more here. Breathing out, another out. Good. Breathing in, and then coming back up. Very good. Alrighty, we'll move on to our next exercise, which is going to be one leg stretch level 1. This exercise is to train lumbar pelvic neutral, dynamic stability, and also to help with our core and pelvic floor strength. So, same positioning, we're going to be lying on our back, arms just flat on the floor, and we're going to extend one leg out to away from us, as though we're pushing a button, and then we're going to bring that leg back up to the front. Same side, opposite side, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to extend that leg, pushing our foot away, so we're pressing a button at the end of the wall, and then bringing that leg away. Good, you're feeling confident here. We'll find our neutral positioning again, so a couple pelvic tilts to find that neutral spine. Good, and just imagining a trail of ants coming under that spine there. Good, alrighty, arms flat on the floor, shoulders nice and flush on the mat. And then when you're ready, extending the left leg out to the wall. Very good. At the end, you can also point your toes as though you're pressing a button at the end of the wall. Good. And then draw that leg closer to you. Very good. We want to try and keep our hips nice and stable. So imagining that our hips have headlights up to the ceiling. Try not to let that sway. Another way to think about it is imagining there's a cup of water on the stationary knee. We want to keep that cup of water nice and still. Good. And just remembering the trail of ants under our lower back here. Putting pressure on my hand, but not exactly squashing it. Very good. Now I'm introducing breath. We're going to breathe out there, breathing in, and then breathing out, drawing that foot away from us. Breathing out, breathing in, and then breathing out again, back in. Very good. I'm going to do one more on each side. Pressing that button, and then drawing that heel back in. Very good. Don't forget to pressure here, drawing those ribs in. Very good. And then bringing that heel back. Alright, perfect. We'll move on to our next exercise, which is going to be abdominal preparation. So this exercise is to energize the anterior oblique sling, and it also helps train abdominal muscles in postnatal clients, which is really relevant to what you're going through. So, I'll show the exercise. We're going to be on your back again, arms flat on the floor, and what we're going to do is start by drawing our shoulders up and away from us, hands coming up, head coming up, and just the top of the shoulders, and then we're going to breathe in. Breathing out, we're going to draw ourselves back down, hands and shoulders lasting to touch the mat. So I'll show you again, breathing in, breathing out, we're going to draw away with our hands, reaching to as far as we can as though there's strings pulling us, and then coming back down to the mat, and head and shoulders coming down last. Alright, give that one a go. So we're going to draw our hands away from us, and as though those hands are being pulled by a string. Very good. Keeping that neck nice and relaxed, and then coming back down. Good. We want to imagine there's a peach under the chin. We want to keep pressure on the peach but not squash it. So a nice and long position through the back of the neck. Good. Coming up, breathing in here, and then breathing out, we'll come back down. Very good. Now we want to be keeping our rib cage nice and tucked, and also our tummy should be nice and flat. We want to imagine that our belly button is coming towards our spine, and that there's not a doming or bulging effect through these abdominal muscles here. Good. Coming back down, breathing in, breathing out, drawing those arms away, breathing in, and breathing out, coming back down. Good. Try and keep that neck nice and relaxed, so tucking in that chin even that little bit more, and coming back down. Do one more here, coming up, reaching away, and then coming back down. Very good. Alright, we'll move on to our next exercise, which is shoulder bridge level 1. So it's another position in this supine position. So let me grab the ball. This exercise is for mobilizing the thoracic and lumbar spine, as well as targeting the adductors and glute muscles. So ball between the knees. We're going to keep pressure on that ball by squeezing our knees. And what we're going to do is have our arms flush against the mat. And we're going to tuck our tailbone in and gradually roll ourselves off the mat, coming up into a bridge position, breathing in, breathing out. We're going to gradually roll ourselves back down. So it's a nice segmental movement. The tailbone should be the first thing and last thing to come off the mat. Breathing in, and then breathing out, rolling ourselves back down. Give that one a go. So lying down on your back for me. So pop this ball in between the knees, a nice gentle squeeze, remembering the blueberry under that spine, just keeping a nice pressure under that. And sort of pressing on my hand but not squashing it. Very good. Alright, we're going to start by tucking our tailbone in and rolling ourselves off the mat into a nice straight bridge position. Very good. And then rolling ourselves back down. Good. When we come up into that bridge position, we're going to imagine that our body is forming a bridge for water to pass under, and we're also pushing through those feet to drive that motion. Very good. And rolling ourselves back up, breathing in here, and then breathing out. We're going to come back down. And breathing in and breathing out, rolling ourselves up. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. Remembering to keep that belly button tucked in towards the spine. And trying not to dome through our stomach, and coming back down, keeping pressure on this ball. We want to see it nice and squeezed, and coming up, and then rolling ourselves back down, tailbone into the floor. Good. One more here, tucking and coming up. Very good. And then coming back down. Very good. Alright, we'll move on to our next exercise, which is going to be hip twist level 2. So same positioning. I'll give you a demonstration first. I'll just take this ball out of your knees here. We're going to pop the ball back in between the knees, ankles together, and we're going to have our palms facing towards the floor. We're going to roll our knees towards one way and our head goes towards the opposite way. So coming back up to the center and then drawing our knees away, head going the opposite way. So the purpose of this exercise is to create a rotation force to challenge lumbar-pelvic control. So really working on that core and abdominal strength. The rotation also helps loosen up the lower back, which is really helpful for you as you have your lower back pain. Good. Alright, so let's give that one a go. So lying down on your back, pop that ball in between the knees and ankles together. Arms facing down. Good. Do you feel okay there with the head support? Yep. Good. Alright, we're just going to retrain, so keeping those ribs nice and tucked. Imagine that the pelvis is that bucket of water, so we're going to do a couple of tilts back and forwards to find that neutral spine position. And finding that spot where you feel nice and balanced, and also there's a trail of hands coming under your back. Very good. Alrighty. What we're going to do is start by turning your legs to the right and your head to the left. So it should feel nice and relaxing, as though we're wringing out water out of a towel. And coming back up to the center. And then pausing here, going to the opposite side. Very good. Coming up to the center. Now we'll introduce some breathing. So breathing in at the center, breathing out to turn away, breathing in at our position away, and then breathing out back to the center. Good. Keeping this nice equal pressure here, and nice and tucked through the ribs here. Good. So imagining we're wringing out the water out of this towel, trail of ants under that spine. Very good. And rolling away. should feel nice and relaxing. And turning your head away again. Very good. So now we're going to do one more each side. Looking away. Coming up to the centre. And looking away again. And back up to the centre. Very good. Alrighty, lovely. We'll move on to our next exercise, which is going to be arm openers on the line. This exercise is in side line. So I'll show you the exercise first. We don't need the ball. We're going to be lying down on our side, imagining that our bum and our feet are up against a brick wall. So we're keeping a nice equal position in here. We're going to have our bottom arm with palm facing up and our top arm with palm facing down. And what we're going to do is open up our top arm, follow the gaze with our eyes, and then close that top arm back again. So imagining that we're opening up a page of a book, following the gaze of the eyes with the hand, and then closing that back up. The purpose of this exercise is to mobilize the thoracic spine and to activate the anterior oblique sling, as well as stretching those pec muscles to opening up the chest, reducing that thoracic stiffness that you've got. Great, so bringing those hips and feet equal distance apart, palm facing up. You're feeling okay with the head support there?
That's good.
Good. Alrighty, so remembering the trail of ants under this spine, it's really important to keep the right positioning. So keeping our lower back slightly lifted off the mat here, drawing our belly button towards our spine, and rib cage tucked in. Great, so we'll start by opening up the hand by lifting up that top arm all the way around. Good, following the arm with the eyes, and then closing that foot back up, following that movement. Good, now we want to keep our hips nice and stacked, so that we're not falling off the mat. Good, and following the gaze of the hand with the eyes. Opening that back up. Closing that back down. Good. You feeling a stretch through the front of your pec muscles?
Yeah.
Great. And bring that back down. Now we'll introduce some breaths. So breathing in here and then breathing out. We're going to open up those arms again. Breathing in at that open movement and then breathing out. Close those arms back up again. Very good. Breathing in and breathing out. Open back up. Don't forget to close up this back here. Good. Bringing the ribs in and then closing those arms back down. Very good. One more here. Opening up those arms. Following the gaze of the hand and then closing that back up. Very good. Alrighty, well that's the end of our repertoire. I'll get you having a seat for me, please. And I'm just going to go through a couple of take-home exercises as well as some home advice.
Okay.
Great, so we'll have 3 home exercises for you today. The first one's going to be called mermaids. So we're going to create this position here. So it's a bit hard to describe. We're going to have our front leg bent and then the same movement of our other leg. What we're going to be doing is bringing our arms up and around. So our left arm comes down and the right arm comes around like a rainbow. Breathing in here and then breathing out. We're going to push up through that opposite arm and then come back around to the opposite side. That opposite side is going to have a lot less range of motion, but the aim of the exercise is to bring the thoracic spine into lateral flexion. Great, so we'll start by sitting there. I'm going to just get you in the right positioning, so keeping your torso nice and straight. And we're going to have our ribs nice and tucked, and lower back also nice and flat. We're going to start by bringing our right arm down to the floor into a bent position with our forearm on the mat, and then come around like a rainbow with the opposite arm. Good, and pushing back off, coming around, nice little pause there. Feeling that stretch and then coming back around. Very good. Now we want to make sure that arm's coming around, not crossing the face, and that we're in a nice straight position as though we're in between 2 planes of glass. Good. So what we're going to do here is 4 to 6 times each side, so swapping the positioning of the legs and arms for that one. I'd like you to do this every day as well.
Can do.
Lovely. Alright, we'll move on to our next exercise, which is going to be shoulder bridge. So we already went through this exercise. This is shoulder bridge level 1. I'll demonstrate it again for you. You don't need a head support for this one. So just a nice flat head on the mat. And what we're going to be doing is, you may not have a ball at home, but if you don't, just use a rolled up towel, but something in between the knees to create that squeeze. So we really want to activate the adductors as these muscles co-contract with our tummy muscles, and that'll help build that strength for you even easier. So feet flat on the mats, hands flat on the mat, and we're going to tuck our tailbone in and roll ourselves up off the mat. Breathing in here and breathing out, coming back down nice and slow. So we want to imagine that we're creating that bridge again for the water to come through. So I'll get you to demonstrate that one for me. I know we went through it today, but it's a really good exercise. So pop that ball in between the knees. Just get you in the right positioning, so keeping those ribs tucked, finding the neutral spine positioning, so rocking that pelvis back and forwards. And then we're going to imagine that there's a blue green flat spine. Very good. Alrighty. Shoulders flat into the mat, and we're going to tuck our tailbone in, roll ourselves up. Breathing in here and breathing out, we're going to come back down. This exercise is great, as I said before, for mobilizing the thoracic and lumbar spine, so that mid and lower back, and it also helps create a co-contraction of the glutes, adductors and core muscles working all intertwined, which really will help with your core and pelvic floor strength and hopefully reduce that lower back pain. Very good. Alrighty, I'll take that one out for you. We'll move on to our final exercise, which is going to be lumbar rolls. So it's an exercise I really like giving for people with lower back pain. This exercise just helps you bring the lower back into rotation, and it's a really simple exercise you can do in bed, before or when you go to sleep. So the previous exercise, shoulder bridge, I forgot to say, 8 to 10 times per day. Good. Alrighty, this exercise, about 6 to 8 times I'd like you to do it each way. So we're going to have our arms out to the side, and we're going to keep our ankles together and knees together. We're going to roll our legs to one side, come back to the center, and then roll our legs to the opposite side, come back to the center. So that's 6 to 8 times each side with a nice pause, and it's really opening up that lower back in rotation. Give that one a go for me. So remembering our neutral spine positioning with that trailer bands, ankles and knees together, good. And move out the way, but I'll get you to roll those knees off to the side, trying to keep our shoulders and back, upper back on the mat, so we're really focusing on mobilizing that lower back. Go just until that range where you can control it, and then go back down the other way. Very good. And one more time. Good, and the opposite side. Lovely. Alrighty, having a seat for me, I'm just going to give you a couple of take-home advice. So, this is your first time in Pilates, so I'd like you to try and go on a walk as much as you can this week. So, try and go on a walk tomorrow. I know that you've said that it causes you a bit of fatigue and soreness, but keeping moving is really important with lower back pain. If you can only walk for 5 or 10 minutes, just aim at that range where it's within your pain-free threshold. Let's just say it's 8 minutes, and then the next day you can try and aim for 10 minutes and try and keep improving that walking. And it's walking as much as you can. I know people walk around the house with housework and all that, but actually going outside for a designated walk is really helpful. As well as I'd like you to use heat to your advantage. So heat's really good for chronic pain, especially lower back pain. So you can use heat packs, physio cream, tiger balm, rubbing that into the spots that are really sore, so in that lower back. You can do this as much out of the day as you can, and it really just helps provide a bit of pain relief and open up the joints really for more movement. Lastly, I'd like you to get a spiky ball. You can grab one at Kmart or Amazon for a really affordable price. Spiky balls help get into the spots where you can't massage. So you can get a ball, roll in that upper back position to get into that thoracic spine stiffness, as well as the lower back and glutes. You can roll on the floor or on the ball, whatever feels comfortable for you, but it's a really simple technique in between appointments. Do you have any questions?
No, you've explained really great, so thank you.
Great. Well, lovely to meet you, and I'll see you next week.
And I see you then.
Thanks, Ava. Bye.